Hi again. Here we are on the left-hand inner sill and body mount of our Suzuki Jimny. So the job that we're on is the welding in or boxing in the body mount there. So the body mount's been repaired behind there, as you can see, the rubber donut just in here. And the main body mount that welded to the chassis has also been repaired. The rock been cut away and a new piece welded in. Not the best welding in the world, I admit, but it's good enough, it's strong enough. I've hit it with a hammer a million times and it hasn't come off yet. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a new inner sill panel, which is going to cover all of that big hole there that you've got there. And the panel that I've made is this one here. So that's going to go inside there, inside the arch there, onto the back of the inner sill, just to weld that panel in. You can see there's a line of holes. That's where it used to be spot welded, just here on this part here. So the old spot welds was about 3 or 4, and I'm going to plug weld those onto the bodywork there with those line of holes there. And then round the back I will also weld along this bottom edge here as well, as much as I possibly can, give it as much strength as possible. So that's the plan. Once I've done that and that's welded in, then I need to put in this piece back here. So we re-weld that back in because I cut that out. That's laying inside the car at the moment. And then also I need to repair the inner wheel arch just there. There's a big hole. You can see the chassis through it on the right hand side there. So that's got to also have a patch there. So that is the job for today. Yeah, I'm going to get on and see how far I get. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm just the piece of plate that I've cut for this job. I've painted it on the backside, and I stress that this is painted with zinc primer paint. So zinc primer, it's a weld-through primer, so it doesn't matter if you've got clean surfaces or not, particularly. Having said that, I probably should have done it with the copper stuff, because the copper stuff works a lot better, I find, with the MIG welder. It would appear, watching other people's YouTube videos, that zinc primer, weld-through primer, is good for spot weld because of the really high current that they're doing, trying to melt 2 bits together like that. I don't get on so well with the zinc primer of the MIG. It spits and messes around quite a lot. But I've done, be that as it may, I've done it. So I'll see how I get on. If it messes me about, I might clean it off a little bit and repaint it a bit later when I've done the welding. And I'm just trying to line this up so I don't leave too many big gaps on too many sides. I'm just going to try and as equal as I can, so that when it's in, because once it's in, of course, it's in, and there's not much more you can do about it. So I'm just trying to line it up, and then once I get lined up, I will just tack it in there and make sure it's where it needs to be. It's a little bit of a pain in the neck, but at some point in a minute it will be, I'm sure. Little bit of adjustment required, I think. That's better. Yeah, now that's better. It's better. Right, so I've got a bit of a gap at the bottom there, which I think that's probably going to be okay. Right, okay, let's do it. Okay, so I've got the inner sill repair panel welded in, the one that I made. It's welded all the way around, which is important for MOT. If if you didn't know that already. And also the fact that it needs to be the same gauge steel that you are repairing. You need to repair it with the same gauge. Although by my own MOT tester's own admission, you can never really tell whether it has got the same gauge or not. In this case it has, which is good. So yeah, that's good. So that's all welded in around. You can see that I've got some plug welds across the middle where I had some holes drilled so that it picked up the bodywork flange at the back, which was part of the box around the body mount. So that's been done. And I've also welded around the inside on the other side, on the back side, which if I get down and try and show you with some light, it might not work, but we'll have a go. If I get some light up there, you can see not the neatest welding in the world, but it's pretty tricky to get up in there. But I know that I've got good penetration, so even if it looks scrappy, I know that I've got some decent penetration on the panel, and it's not just going to pop off at the first lump with a hammer. So yeah, it's a bit out of focus here, I'm sorry about that, but that is the inner sill. Oh, there you go. That's the inner sill panel welded in. I've had to plug up a couple of holes as well where it went a bit thin. So yeah, got that in. That needs a bit of paint. I'm just waiting for it to finish the other part before I get the paint can out. Give it a blow over with some etch primer, give it half a chance of sticking. And then the next job is, if I come around here, just come back from out from underneath, bear with me, is the inner sill, sorry, the inner wing hole that I've got there. And I've made this piece of repair panel to go in there. So that basically goes in something like that. And I'll get it set up. There we go, in there like that. And I'm going to weld round the inside of it. Where is it? There it is. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to weld that around there. So yeah, that's my next job. So I'll come back to you shortly. And there we go. So that inner wheel arch bottom piece of rot gone. New piece welded in. Again, not neat. Apologies for the welders out there, but I do know, because if I look on the other side I can see that I've got penetration, because you can see that the weld marks are coming through the other side on the panel on the other side. So you can see it just there, a bit blurry perhaps, but yeah, that's the idea. And I've also welded down the seam edge as well, where I've folded it over, so it gives it a little bit more strength on that corner, so if needed. I don't think that sill is going to crumple up anytime soon, which is good news. But of course, these cars rust, and you're forever chasing rust. And I have found a thin piece of sill on the inside. Maybe I can show you perhaps with a light. If I get down underneath here again, and just there we've got another hole just down from the sill that I've just welded. Look at that. What do you know, more rust. So I've got to put a patch on there. Dear, never ending. Well, what do you know, another hole just in front of the inner sill repair panel that I put in. There was a small hole in the sill ahead of that, and don't be fooled, when you see a small hole it's likely to turn into a big one. So if you've never done this before and you're trying to patch bodywork on a car, small holes generally tend to turn into big ones the more you start prodding and hammering and poking with screwdrivers, etc. And you must get back to solid metal. If you try welding rust, it will just blow holes in it all over the place and you'll have no strength. I'm going to plate this. It's awkward to get into, so I'm going to plate this with a piece that I've made. Let's turn that up the other way. So that's made in there, that'll fit into there like that. And then I'll weld all the way around, as explained earlier. and then that will cover that hole up and give it a bit more strength again, and it'll be good enough for MOT. If I was restoring this car, then I'd probably have the thing completely apart and put in a complete new inner sill, because you can get those parts from Suzuki. But this is really just to get this through the MOT. What happens after that is anyone's guess. So yeah, I'll get that one plated, and I'm nearly ready then to put and box up the outer sill on there. So hopefully by the end of today that will all be boxed in, painted and boxed in, cleaned up, and on to the next job. So stick around, and I'll come back to you soon. And the job is finished. So we have got the outer sill welded back up. The panel has gone back in. I've painted it over with some primer and some black hammerite or black smoothite paint, just to keep it rust at bay for now. Inside the inner wheel arch also repaired in there that I showed you earlier. That bit there also painted up as well. This will all get under sealed and such like as well. Body mount is down, everything is all painted up, and yeah, back down on its mounts at the back end here, more or less. And on the inside as well, if we can see it, let's just find a light for you guys. Where's it gone? There it is. Yeah, just bear with me, I'm nearly there. And there we go, and we've repaired all up in there and painted all of that as well. So yeah, not too bad a job for an amateur welder, I hope. Apologies for to the professional welders out there, but again, as I stress, this is MOT standard, not restoration standard. So if it's strong enough for the MOT tester, that's what matters in this case. If I was to restore this machine properly, then it would have been side off with a complete new sill, front to back. But again, massive lot of time, huge amount of work, and you've already seen the sort of work we've got on this to do. So yeah, sort of this is the next best thing for us to do. But yeah, not a bad job after all, I think. Hope you'll agree. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. I think it's the floor. There's the next job at the back. That's going to take some thinking about. Anyway, see you soon. Take care. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy it.